yourself to settle. Welcome to Moonmine Temple. Long before anyone measured stress or named anxiety, a prince named Siddhartha walked away from his palace to study why human beings suffer. The world came to know him as the Buddha, the awakened one, and what he found still sounds like news. He found that happiness has been inside you the whole time, buried under everything you can. The search for it keeps failing because it moves in the wrong direction, outward, toward more. Freedom moves the other way, toward less. And the mind that carries all that weight can be trained, step by step, to suffer less. Tonight, that training unfolds into 15 teachings, and each one names a specific weight you have been carrying and shows you how to put it down. You will see the exact place where pain gets made, in a gap smaller than a blink. You will sit inside a debate held before an emperor over whether the person called you exists at all. You will hear about the strangest gift a son ever gave his mother, the Buddha teaching her in the heaven where she had been reborn, years after her death. And the 13th teaching waits near the end, held back on purpose, because you will need the first 12 to receive it without fear. Some of these teachings will quietly take apart something you were certain about. All of them are practical, and every one of them can be tested against your own life. Wherever in the world you are listening from tonight, you are welcome here. The first teaching begins where all suffering begins, inside a single moment of your mind. Every wound you have ever received healed faster than the story you told about it. Bodies close their cuts in days. Minds reopen theirs for decades. The Buddha spent his life studying that difference, the strange way pain outlives its cause, and he began his study in a place nobody expects. He began by asking how fast the mind moves. He told his disciples that nothing in the world changes as quickly as the mind. He searched for a comparison and admitted that nothing in nature was quick enough to stand beside it. Generations of masters who came after him tried to measure it anyway, and their conclusion sounds impossible. In the time it takes you to snap your fingers, the mind flashes into being and passes away many billions of times. Billions of moments inside one snap. Each moment a spark of knowing, born and gone before you could ever point at it. Your mood, your reaction, your entire state of mind, all of it is built from these sparks, the way a film is built from frames. When you watch a film, you see a woman walking through rain. You never see the frames. The motion looks solid, continuous, real. Your anger looks exactly that solid from the inside, and it has exactly that many seams. If billions of moments sounds like philosophy, watch yourself wait. Stand at an elevator that takes 4 seconds too long. or watch a loading circle spin on a screen. Inside those few seconds, impatience rises, a plan forms, a judgment lands, a memory surfaces, and a small story about your wasted life gets drafted and revised. All of that in 4 seconds. You have already lived the evidence. The mind moves at a speed no clock was built for. That detail matters for one reason. A film can be slowed down. And when this film slows, something appears that changes the whole story you have been telling about your reactions. Between the moment the world touches you and the moment you suffer about it, there is a gap. So here is the first teaching. Learn to catch the gap. Watch how a bad moment actually gets made. Someone criticizes your work. Sound reaches the ear. Recognition follows. Then, in a rush too fast to feel, the mind assembles the sting. A memory of an old failure joins in. A comparison with a colleague joins in. A story called "They Never Respected Me" joins in. By the time you feel insulted, the insult has been manufactured, assembled, and delivered entirely in-house. The raw material was one sentence. The factory was yours. And here is the proof that the factory belongs to you. Put 2 people in the same delayed train, side by side, receiving the identical event. One spends the hour composing a furious complaint in his head, jaw tight, heart pounding. The other reads, or dozes, or simply looks out the window at the rain. Same train, same delay. 2 entirely different afternoons, manufactured on the spot by 2 different minds. The event was never in charge. It only ever supplied the raw material. This reverses the usual story we tell about our feelings. We say the traffic made me angry. We say the message ruined my day. Look closer. The traffic supplied a single moment of contact. The mind supplied the anger, built it moment by moment at astonishing speed, and then signed the traffic's name to the finished product. You can verify this against your own life, tonight, without believing a single word of doctrine. The same remark that destroys you on an exhausted day slides right off you on a rested one. Same remark. Different factory conditions, different product. If the pain truly lived inside the remark, it would hurt the same amount every single time. It never does. The pain is assembled on arrival, every time, fresh from parts you supply. That sounds like an accusation, and it lands as a liberation. Whatever gets assembled can be assembled differently. So how do you catch a gap that closes faster than a blink? You start by catching it afterward. An hour after the flare of anger, walk back through what happened. First, there was contact. Then there was heat. Then there was story. Simply seeing that sequence, even once, even in memory, begins to loosen its grip. Next time you may catch it 10 minutes after, then 1 minute after, then one ordinary afternoon, you will feel the heat rising and watch it rise. And in that instant, you will be standing inside the gap itself. The breath is the oldest tool for this, and it works like a slow-motion camera. One deliberate breath, taken at the moment of contact, stretches the gap wide enough to see into. You are already breathing as you listen to this. Slow one breath down, right now, and notice how the noise of the mind drops with it. That small drop, multiplied across a life, is the entire
I'm talking about me smoking here, silly.
difference between reacting and choosing. There is an older, gentler version of this practice, done at the end of the day. Before sleep, pick one moment when the heat rose, just one, and replay it slowly, the way a coach replays a match. Find the contact, find the first flicker of heat, find the story that arrived to justify the heat. You are training the eye that will one day catch all of this live. Reviewed at this speed, without any self-blame, even yesterday's worst moment becomes a lesson instead of a verdict. What happens inside the gap is hard to describe and impossible to forget. The anger arrives like a guest, announced at the door. You can see it, greet it, give it a chair, and decline to hand it the keys. The feeling still visits. The feeling stops governing. People who practice this report the same discoveries, in the same order. First, they notice how mechanical their reactions have always been, and that part stings. A lifetime of what felt like personality turns out to contain a great deal of machinery. Then they notice the machinery can run without their help, and that watching it run is strangely peaceful. Then comes the real surprise. The reactions themselves begin to arrive smaller. A machine that gets watched, it turns out, slowly forgets how to run at full speed. Nobody grits their teeth through this change. It happens the way dawn happens, gradually, and then all at once. understand what this looks like from outside, because it looks like almost nothing. The trained person keeps the same job, the same family, the same commute, the same inbox. Colleagues only notice that storms seem to pass through this person without leaving wreckage. The criticism that flattens everyone else gets considered, answered, and released by dinner. The insult gets one heartbeat of heat and no second life at midnight. From outside it looks like luck, or a mild temperament, or thick skin. From inside it is one skill, practiced 10,000 times. The gap, caught again and again, until catching it became the mind's new reflex. You may already be asking who exactly does the watching. If the reactions are machinery, hold that question. It has a whole teaching of its own waiting for it, and a debate before an emperor. Because a nearer question comes first. Even with a wide open gap, even with perfect watching, life still hits hard. People die. Bodies fail. Money runs out. Catching the gap softens your reactions, and reactions were never the whole of pain. The Buddha knew this better than anyone, and he answered it with a question about arrows. One afternoon he asked his disciples to imagine a man walking through a forest, struck by an arrow. "Does it hurt?" he asked. "Of course," they said. "Terribly." "Then imagine," he said, "that a second arrow strikes the man in the very same spot. Does that hurt more?" "Far more," they said. "More
Bro,
than
you know
either
half of them
arrow
are
alone."
virgins, and half of them
Then
getting it
he
all.
delivered the sentence this entire video stands
Oh,
on.
buddy.
When an untrained person meets pain, he said, they sorrow over it, they rage against it, they are struck by two arrows. When a trained person meets the same pain, they feel it fully, completely, without adding anything to it. One arrow. Here is the second teaching. Feel the first arrow and refuse to fire the second. The first arrow is simply the price of being alive. Bodies age, plans collapse, people we love walk away or are taken, work disappoints, sleep refuses to come. That arrow flies at every human being ever born, and it flew at the Buddha too. He knew back pain. He outlived his two chief disciples and spoke openly of how empty the community felt without them. He grew old and said so plainly, comparing his own body to an old cart held together with straps. Awakening never made him bulletproof. It changed how many arrows landed. Notice what this asks of you, because it asks for something harder than positivity. It asks you to stop arguing with what has already happened. Most of us treat painful facts the way we treat rain, standing in it, soaked, insisting it has no right to fall. The rain falls anyway. The argument adds shivering to wet. Feeling the first arrow fully means letting the fact be a fact, at last, so the wound can begin the closing it has been waiting to do. The second arrow is everything you add. Why me? This always happens. I should have seen it coming. The replaying, the blaming, the dress rehearsal.
Come on now, fall. Stupid shit. It's taking me longer to put together than it is to get apart. Hey Meta, what time is it?
It's 3:27 p.m.